state for me so that I have it. Who are you and what do you do?
So, my name is Greg Thorp. I live in a small community here in the South Okanagan called Oliver. I'm involved with agriculture and I propagate and grow a lot of plants. I've been involved with the 1,000 Rides Out program that was done in the spring of 2002.
What was 1,000 Rides Out?
1,000 Rides Out was an initiative by a bunch of volunteers to help a group of people, and they were getting volunteers on the Ukrainian-Romanian border and a couple of the other borders that surrounded Ukraine. We had heard about a group of volunteers that had their own vehicles and they were driving into the Ukraine with food and bringing people from bomb shelters and basements out to the border where there was a lot of resources available to them. So we wanted to support that. So the 1,000 Rides Out was kind of a concept. It was a slogan that caught on where we wanted to raise enough money to bring 1,000 people out of Ukraine to the safety of the borders.
How much did it cost for, like, you had a specific price for like one person? It would be the items in for one person and that seat for one person out?
Yeah, so what it worked out is that the fuel to operate the vans and the food to bring food in cost $27 for a round trip. So that included a van full of food and a van full of people coming out. Most of the vans are running between 10 to 12 and as high as 15 people roughly. There were small vans going into usually the smaller towns and cities, and this is where their specialty is going into these smaller locations. At that time there was many larger buses going into the bigger cities, but the small ones were in trouble. So that's where these volunteers were primarily working.
So how many people were you able to get out?
I love that question, Nicole. We had a dream of doing 1,000 Rides Out. In Oliver, we did a fundraising event, and that night, when it all sorted out, we raised more than enough to do 1,000 Rides Out. It was approximately 1,050 rides that we were able to get out that from the event that we held in Oliver. Then we did another event in Kelowna, one in Lakeview Heights in the Penticton area, and ultimately one in Abbotsford. And combined, we raised enough money for 4,500 rides out, which was extremely successful and encouraging. ADRA Canada, who we worked with, was able to take that money and go back to industry and governments, and ultimately they were able to bump that up 10 times. So $1.2 million went into the Ukraine to help moving people out of the dangers of the war.
So just to be clear here, you got the first concert and the fundraising event started, and then other folks liked your idea and went with it from there? Exactly.
So the first event that we did in Oliver, we had people from Kelowna, and they were quite intrigued. It caught their imagination and said, you know what, we could do one in Kelowna. And they came back and said, how can we help? And we came in with the resources and the things that we learned from the first concert. We helped them do a very successful event in Kelowna. Then again in Lakeview Heights, it was slightly different, but it was very successful also. And then some people in the Abbotsford area had heard about what we were doing and said, we'd like to do one also. Again, we assisted with them. We brought in our crew of people, and we were able to help them, and that was a very successful fundraising event in Abbotsford.
So now it's been about a year approximately since that first concert, right?
Yeah.
That was held March 23rd, I think it was.
That's right.
So now you have another idea, kind of along the same lines, and you're calling this initiative 1,000 Flights Out. Is that correct?
That's right. So let me explain in briefly what has happened. As many people have watched over the last number of months, the homes, towns, and villages and cities in the Ukraine, many of them have been totally destroyed. People are at the border and oftentimes in Romania, they're in Czechoslovakia, they're also in Poland, and in these border towns they have found a temporary home, but there is nothing to go back to, even if the war were to stop today, because everything has been destroyed, and they're in limbo because there's really, the host countries can't take so many hundreds of thousands of people that are there. So this is what we want to do, is we want to bring people that have the interest to come to Canada, start a new life, be able to find a wonderful country that they can begin new jobs, get their children into our good schools, and give them the opportunities that they don't have there in the Ukraine.
That's excellent. So what makes 1,000 Flights Out special?
So what makes it special is this. There is an initiative by a group of volunteers, myself included, that bring together a certain skill set. One is that we can help with the fundraising events. We have people that have had television experience, years in television experience. We've got people that have worked in large fundraising events before. We have video, we have video editors, we have sound people that can help with a fundraising event. So that's one area that we can provide support and leadership in. The second area is that we have contacts in the Ukraine and here in Canada. So we have people that are that have their biometrics done. They are flight ready. And that means to say they're ready to come to Canada once we are able to supply them with airline ticket.
So the 1,000 Flights Out initiative has people with everything in line ready to go to Canada if there were only enough money for an airline ticket to get them here.
That's correct. So we have a dream to bring 1,000 people from the Ukraine to Canada, to the safety of, really to North America. And that is a very large, audacious dream, but it's one that I think we can accomplish. And that's what we want to is bring people to a new country that has new opportunities, one that they can step into and realize their potential.
So for 1,000 rides out, for $27 approximately, that's something anyone can really probably manage. Sponsor one person out. You feel like you're making a big difference in one person's life.
That's right.
So obviously airline tickets are a little bit more expensive. How do us, regular people, minding our own business, with a heart willing to help, how do we make a difference in this project? It's not going to be $27 for one person.
That's a great question. So we work with a organization called ADRA, and they are able to supply anybody that gives a donation with a tax receipt. That's a very positive thing for many people that are looking at making a contribution. It costs approximately $1,450 to bring a person from the Ukraine to Canada. And that includes airline ticket and a little bit of help when they get here. The first few bags of groceries, help them get settled into their new home. And so if a person is interested, which I hope many of the viewers are, for $28 a week, which is a cost of about a pizza these days, they can make a commitment for 1 year at $28 a week. That will get one person from the borders of the Ukraine to the safety of Canada. So it's quite doable. For me, I could probably do without an extra pizza a week. Or the other way of looking at it is that the cost of going to Starbucks is about, at least for me, about $4 for a beverage. That's about $4 a day. That's about 2 toonies. That's what it costs for 1 year to bring one person out from the Ukraine to Canada.
Well, that makes it seem a lot more manageable to make a difference. What if I can't manage an extra pizza a week? Is there still an opportunity to donate?
Sure there is. And what we want to do is we want to provide it open for everybody. And what we would like to do is have anybody that would like to make a contribution as low as $28 or hundreds or thousands of dollars, a one-time donation. You can certainly do that through our website, and through ADRA is the conduit that we use.
So what, you have 1,000 flights out that you want to get. So ideally that's 1,000 people sponsoring for a year, $28 a week. But as I understand it, you have families that are ready right now. So in your ideal, perfect situation for donations, what would that look like?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, we have families that are ready to go, and we like to bring out families, not just one person at a time. Most of the families that are coming out are usually moms with 1 or 2 of their children. Typically the dad has been recruited and is one of the defenders in the country for the country of Ukraine. So what we're hoping for is to get enough money at any one time to bring out a family, which typically constitutes about 3 airline tickets is what our minimum is to get one family out.
It's just doing the math, that's about 5,000, nope. Doing the math, that is
$4,500 approximately.
Thank you. Did the math for me. So this sounds amazing. My question to you is, why are you bothering? Lots of people have made it to Canada on their own. Why are we Why are you doing this?
Well, Nicole, that's a great question. There's the primary reason is that because I believe it's important for us to be involved with people. As you know, a few years ago, we had a very cold snap come through our local area here, and I was quite concerned about some of the people on the streets of Oliver. I contacted our pastor and says, you know what, I think we should open up the churches and get a warming center going. And we did that, and it has been very successful. It's been going on for a number of winters. When I look at that, I realize that that's a great thing to do, but I also have a ethical responsibility to do the same thing to somebody that's not just across town, but it's halfway across the world. And so if we have the capacity to help and we don't help, then I feel that I have failed my brother or my sister. So for me, I believe most people watching will say, you know what, if there's a way that we can help somebody that is by no fault of their own in a dire situation, I would like to be able to assist. And I don't speak Ukraine, I don't have any Ukrainian heritage, but I feel that I need to do what I can to help those people. It may be limited, but I am convinced that we can make an impact if we work together and change the life of one family, one person. Will make a world of difference for them. It would change their life forever.
And so that brings it back to, you started this 1,000 flights out initiative to show people how to help.
Yes.
And make it really simple to join the community of people helping other people.
You've said that very well. And everybody that is associated with the 1,000 Flights Out are volunteers. The 100% of the money that is contributed goes to help people out. Nobody gets any percentage to justify their work. It's all volunteers, and that's what I like about this organization, this group of volunteers. They're an amazing bunch of people, and I can't say enough good about them because they just gone the second mile and the third mile. So yes, so 1,000 Flights Out provides the transportation. Then it also connects them with organizations that will be able to step up and be able to help them find their accommodation, find employment, help get the children registered in school, be able to get their banking sorted out, help them with language schools, and help them get a driver's license, which is oftentimes quite challenging because of the regulations that we have here in Canada are different than in many countries in Europe. So that's where these other organizations step in and help. Our job is to connect people together.
Is there anything else that I should have asked you?
Yes, I think there's 3 things that the 1,000 Flights out.com can help on. Number one is that I mentioned here earlier, is that we can help with actual organization for a group that is interested in raising money for the project. So if you're in doesn't matter where you are in the country, we can help you to some degree, either technically, physically we can put people in your event. There's a number of ways that we can help. Secondly is that we can find people that are, as I mentioned before, that have their biometrics, they are flight ready. And we have resources here and people that try and match the right people to the right location. That's quite important, that we take a person that is skilled in computer programming and we put them into a high-tech community versus somebody that is skilled in agriculture. So we want to get the agricultural people into agricultural communities, the high-tech people into the high-tech communities. So that's the second area that we can assist on. And the third area we can assist on is that we have many different organizations that we are confident in that will step up and surround these people with support and love when they come into Canada, which is very important. So we have qualified groups that we can direct them to, that give them the resources that they need and the support they need.
So 1,000 Flights Out is the initiative to bring people from Ukraine into Canada, people who are wanting to do so. And anyone can obviously contribute to the project by donation.
Yes.
But what I kind of hear you saying is 1,000 Flights Out is not just the initiative, but it's people and volunteers who know how to make this happen if anyone wished to do a larger fundraising event as well. Like if they said, I can do the $28 a week, but I also feel like I can reach more people in my community as well. And this is something I want to do on a larger scale. Is that correct?
That's right. So just to further what you just said, we have the resources to help on the fundraising side. We have the know-how and the manpower to accomplish that. So people that are interested, we can do that. We also have the capacity to help smaller groups. For example, let's say you have a club or a church or a community of people that want to sponsor just one family. We can help with the social media side of things to help get the information out. We can perhaps do online auctions. We can do various fundraising events that help raise the money to just bring in one family at a time. And maybe that's all that one group is interested in doing and has the resources to do. So we have the capacity to do that. We have the capacity to do a lot larger ones. We don't have the capacity, and this is where we are lacking. I don't speak Ukrainian. I don't have, our volunteers are not fluent in Ukrainian. I only know two important words of Ukraine. One is pierogies and one is borscht. And so we don't have the resources to support them in language, but we do have a large group of people that we are confident in that will do an amazing job to support them.
So you have other organizations here in Canada.
Yes.
1,000 Flights Out is about those flights, getting people here.
Our primary goal is to get the people into Canada. Once we get in Canada, we can put them into the right location and hook them up to the right people, and they will have a fantastic experience, and they will have a positive, not only a positive one for themselves, but for their family too. This is important that the family gets connected and becomes part of our fabric of our community.
Did I miss anything?
No, I think, Nicole, it is something that people have a passion to help. We oftentimes watch the tragedy that we see taking place on television, and I know that myself and said, you know what, how can I do something? And it's more than just a GoFundMe page. This is more than just trying to alleviate my conscience and say that here's my $20 I've helped. This is about connecting people, about making them part of our home, part of our world. It's about changing lives, and that's what I'm excited about, is that we can actually make a difference. I want to say thank you for your contribution that you are making, be it weekly, monthly, or a one-time contribution. It has made an impact with people from the Ukraine. I have personally met these people, and many of them, and how much it means for them to be able to come to a new country with new opportunities where it's a safe and clean place to raise their children. On behalf of the people here and the volunteers at 1,000 Flights Out, I want to sincerely thank you for your contribution.